Howdy fellas, figured I'd bring you along on this journey here. Quick little video for context reasons. I'm helping a friend move cross country, and he put a good portion of his shop in that box there. So you understand, I'm north of 28,000 gross. That's truck, trailer, and the load. End of this trip, I'll do a video as far as my impressions, everything about the truck. You know, the after treatment, the boost, as far as acceleration, the braking power, call it boost, whatever you want to call it, engine braking. That'll be another video. The point of this video is I wanted to talk about three things that irritate me about this truck. Two of them are a safety issue, and the third one is Paul wanting to know and get his information. It's so retarded. So let's get that one out of the way. I know it's subjective. It's a matter of opinion. So if you unbuckle, and it doesn't matter if the truck's driving or stationary, this is it. You can't do anything with this thing. Well, I have the habit when I park my truck, hang tight guys, not to shut it down until I see certain temps, right? Hence, that's why I went through the settings and kind of got these going up here for the carrier swirl. It's a coolant engine, and that's the engine oil, and that's the transmission temp. Pretty handy, right? But I want to have the freedom to do what the frick I want to do with my truck, and that irritates me so bad. Let it be, I just want to make sure the thing is in regen and I'm shutting it down. Stuff like that. Like, that's retarded what Ford did. I get it, send your warnings, but let the owner be able to dismiss that message, okay? So get that one out of the way. It's one of the dumbest things. Second thing is this windshield. That's my settings. I'm pushing on the windshield. I don't like cold air in my face. So that's a typical setting, feet and windshield. And, I'll wipe it down. I'll change the settings and just, it's foggy outside. A lot of moisture in there, but that's not it. Anytime I do that, unless it's super hot and dry outside, it's 95% of the time I'm fighting with it. So a lot of times I'll just take it off the windshield. Problem solved, right? But it's still like, this is a 2023 Ford. Engineers should have thought about it. Alright, and so that's a safety. To me, that's a safety concern. I know it sounds like I'm whining and crying, but seriously, it gets irritating, but dismiss that. The third one that really, really has gone to me is the exhaust brake. So, when you're in cruise control, like I'm in cruise control right now, I hope we have a rolling hill in the next minute or two so I can show you guys. You're decently fine. Yeah, there's things to, left to be desired. I wish it was a little bit more fine-tuned, but you got nothing to worry about. It'll keep you in check, Worst case scenario, get up to 70, like I have it set at 65. It'll get up to 70. It'll be fighting its way all the way to 70. And once it gets to 70, for example, it's not necessarily 70, it's like 5 miles over. It really puts its work in it, and you're fine. When you're out of cruise control, this thing's a freaking joke. That exhaust brake is a mind of its own, and it's so irritating. And here's the dividing factor. This is where Cummins and Power Stroke are completely two different beasts, right? I'm getting the feeling that Power Stroke built their exhaust brake to maintain speed, to hold you back down hard, steep hills, Hey guys, by the way, I got kiddos with me, so if you hear kiddos talking in the back, Mama's taking care of them. We're all good there, so don't you be worried. We got kids check. They're taken care of. But anyways, back to the exhaust brake. You're going through rolling hills, you're in cruise control. Cool, When you're out of control, you're in deep crap. And as I was saying, Cummins and Power Stroke, right? This Power Stroke holds the speed, maintains speed. There's plenty of power. This engine has plenty of ability to do that when you're in cruise control. When you're out of cruise control, it is so frustrating because as a long-time Cummins owner, when I get on my brakes, lightly or hard, I want the engine to listen, the tuning of the engine to listen to that. If I'm getting on my brakes hard and I'm at high speeds, I expect that exhaust brake to kick in hard. And I mean hard. Right? That's why the exhaust brake's there. That's why I love me my Cummins exhaust brake. slow speeds, forget it. This thing could not even kick on. It's gimmicky. It is so frustrating that Ford missed the mark by that much. When there's a need of power to accelerate, I mean, you could tell the exhaust brakes kicking in. I could hear that 18%. I can't necessarily feel it, but I mean, I could see that, it's holding you back. So I'm not complaining about that. I'm specifically complaining when you're out of gear. And notice how long the exhaust brake was kicked on, and then when the power comes in, like this is what I'm talking about. Kind of leaves it something to be desired, because it'll kind of overdo it, and then it'll drag its feet on excelling, and it's just kind of all over the place. Or should I say, the air of margin is too wide, so it looks sloppy. Anyways, back to what I was saying. This Ford's exhaust brake is gimmicky outside of the cruise control. I have learned to work with it like I'm approaching a descent. I'd get on the brakes, I'd let it know that I'm gonna be going downhill. I'll release the brakes, let's say 60, but actually I want to be doing 65. But I have to slow down the vehicle to 60 and kind of let the computer know that this is the ballpark I want to stay in. Keep in mind, I have an auto on the interstate. That manual thing is, I'll talk about it in this video too. What I expect of it and what it's actually doing. This auto thing is, as I said, we're in cruise control. It's doing okay. Out of cruise control, it's a joke. Back to the auto feature. So if you're gonna manually, or should I say, try to set it to maintain speed outside of cruise control, you gotta cut it under 5-6 miles an hour because it's coming down the hill. Let's go back to that 60 and 65. I'm bringing down the speed to 60, knowing I want to be about 65 going down the hill. So what's gonna happen? It's gonna start excelling, right? 61, 62. It'll drop a gear and it'll try to fight 62, 63, and then it'll drop another gear. It's very slow to response. It's very reluctant to do that. This is a very much a average Joe's truck. This isn't a hard-working man's truck. Hard-working man knows what he wants. Average Joe gets in his truck, sets his cruise control, and goes on with it. I'm not dogging on anybody. I'm just trying to divide that. A guy that wants to work his truck every day, the Ford is not for you. It is so irritating when it comes to that exhaust brake. I swear, I've considered coming home and just selling this thing. Like, I bought a diesel truck to work it. Now, when a question of power, it's never an issue. Yes, it doesn't have the brutal low end of a Cummins. Fall off your chairs, tell me what you want to tell. Boy, I own a 23. I own the HO. This thing does not have the low end torque of a 6.7 Cummins. Nor does it blow up yet, right? Knock on wood and everything. This thing only has 5,700 miles on it. But power is never an issue. It'll drop a gear, it'll wrap itself out, and it will go through anything. Despite me missing my low end, it's a personal preference. It's not a real issue. It maintains speed just fine, so you just leave it at that. But the exhaust brake is a huge concern of mine. A guy that's trying to work his truck needs to know exactly what his truck's doing and is gonna do. That ain't it. So if you get in this truck, you don't know jack about truck, this is a safe truck for you, because you'll set it in cruise control, you'll let the computer do its thing, and that's best case scenario. A lot of hardworking men don't like that. We like that sweet middle. We like consistency. We like to be able to control the equipment. I think that's what it comes down to. We like to know what the equipment's going to do and control it. Keep in mind, you see how it downshift? Like if it, obviously it's holding the speed back. I mean, it's wrapping out the RPM pretty hard. Sometimes it gets me concerned when it's starting to push itself about 4 or 5 miles an hour past set cruise. I mean, it will bring it up to the red. But you actually have an exhaust brake at that point, right? You actually have something holding you back. So, is Paul mad? No, Paul's not mad. Paul's baffled that Ford missed the mark so bad. Is the exhaust brake there? Yes, the exhaust brake's there. It's not a wannabe exhaust brake. There's an actual exhaust brake now in these 23s. They've definitely improved them, but nowhere close to what Cummins has. I'm gonna have to talk in another video, like get into detail of power, get into detail of after treatment. This Ford has a lot of good things to say. I think I hit it as hard as I could on that exhaust brake, and this is the biggest issue that I have with this Ford. It's a joke. It's still a joke. It's upsetting that the Ford Motor Company built such a strong engine to excel, but a joke to still slow you down in the real world of control. And well, I'll throw this out there. Ford trucks have significantly better braking systems. And I think that's what they rely on versus Ram. Like, I got in a couple tight spots where I had to get on the brakes hard. The Cummins would downshift hard and just freaking choke out that engine and slow you the heck down. This thing, it's just, forget it, man. It was downshifting, upshifting. Just forget that exhaust brake. It's nowhere to be found when you really need it in that situation, right? But I did notice the brakes. They have this Ford has a lot of braking power as far as servicing brakes goes. That's not necessarily what you want to use on the interstate, because after that episode of hard braking, about a minute or two, I ended up taking an exit. Kids had to use the bathroom, and my brakes were reeking. They were reeking bad. I've never had my Ram smell this bad, and I've hauled significantly heavier with my Ram. So that high-speed braking, Ford aids it with really strong brakes, and that's good, you know. I wish Ram had this of a strong braking system, but I'd much rather have Ford's ability, or Ram's ability to exhaust brake. You get and you leave a little. That's what it is. You got to take a little bit and you got to leave a little bit. But so depending what you are. Another scenario, I'm always in manual on my Cummins around town, because when I let off the throttle, I want the exhaust brake to kick in. And half the time the exhaust brake does kick in. You see it kicking in, but it's gimmicky, guys. It's pretty much like non-existent, and that's tough. You know, that's tough. I can't stress it enough how big of a joke and letdown Ford is with their exhaust brakes outside of cruise control. I'll just leave it at that. Anyways, fellas, I'm gonna have to wrap it up, because I feel like I'm gonna get carried into my other topic I really want to talk about as a general, because I feel like I'm not being fair with Ford, because all this good stuff about Ford that I have to talk about, I'm not. But considering this video is already, oh smokes, 13 minutes, I'm gonna wrap it up. Just watch out for another video, an overall full balance video of my impressions of this truck. And I'm doing probably about 7,500 miles. It's a well-rounded trip. It's going to be heavy, it's going to be light, it's going to be mediocre, and then there's going to be a little portion of really heavy. So anyways, as always, fellas, may the Lord bless you. May you almighty fine day. Let me know what else you guys want to know about this Ford in the comment section. But there is the video coming about after treatment as an overall truck, how it handles and how the ride quality is, not in a general sense of first-hand appearance, or should I say first impressions of the comfort. There's something about this truck just does not fatigue you like the Ram does, but we'll talk about that another one. I better wrap up this video and take care of Benny. Alrighty, fellas, as always, may the Lord bless you. May you almighty fine day. Ciao, bye.